My father looked me in the eyes, in a room full of people, and said something no child should ever hear. And what I did after that. It made him beg me, again and again. My name is Talia Meadows. I'm 28 years old. And 4 months ago, at my own birthday dinner, my father said, "I wish you had never been born." The candles on my cake were still burning. 40 people sat frozen. No one spoke. No one moved. My stepmother didn't react, she simply nodded, like he'd just made a reasonable point. My stepsister. She lifted her phone, and kept recording my face. That night should have broken me. But it didn't. Instead, it started something. Because just weeks later, that same man called me 17 times in one night. And by the last call, he wasn't angry anymore. He was begging. "Before I take you deeper, tell me something. Where are you watching from right now, and what time is it?" I read every comment. To understand what happened, you need to understand my family. My father, Gerald Meadows, was the kind of man who controlled every room he walked into. People didn't question him. They adjusted themselves around him. My mother died when I was 8. Complications after surgery. But even as a child, I felt it. The silence, the distance, the cold looks. He blamed me. Not in words. In absence. No school plays. No bedtime stories. No, "I'm proud of you." The only person who ever made me feel like I mattered was my grandmother. She used to call me, "my girl." She showed up. Every time. But she's gone now. And after she passed, everything changed. My father remarried. My stepmother moved in, with her daughter. And just like that, I became invisible. Smaller room. Fewer words. No place at the table. Then came the bills. And somehow, they became mine. I kept paying. I kept staying. I kept hoping. But 3 nights before my birthday, I overheard a conversation that changed everything. And that's when I realized. I was never their daughter. I was their plan. I got home at 1 a.m. after a double shift. My body was exhausted, but something felt off. The house wasn't dark. A light leaked from under the kitchen door. And voices, low, careful, like they didn't want to be heard. I should have gone upstairs. I should have ignored it. But I didn't. I stopped halfway up the stairs, and listened. "We'll announce it at her birthday," my stepmother said. 40 people. She won't say no in front of everyone. My heart dropped. My father's voice followed, calm, calculated. "And if she does?" A pause. Then we cut her off. I felt my entire body go cold. They weren't guessing. They weren't hoping. They had already decided. They were talking about my savings. Every dollar I had. 6 years of night shifts. Holidays I worked while everyone else celebrated. Missed vacations. Skipped meals. $52,000. And they wanted it, for my stepsister's wedding. Not asked. Planned. "She owes this family," Linda said. "It's time she gives something back." Something back. I stood there in silence, gripping the railing so tightly my hands hurt. Because the truth was, I had already given everything. For years earlier, my father lost his job. And somehow, the responsibility quietly shifted onto me. Mortgage. Electricity. Water. Taxes. $2,800 a month. Gone. Every single month. No thank you. No acknowledgement. Just expectation. And it didn't stop there. My stepmother got access to my credit card. At first, small charges. Then bigger ones. Clothes. Shoes. Bags. And just weeks before my birthday, a $1,200 designer purchase. When I finally said something, my father shut it down in 4 words. "She's your sister." No, she wasn't. But I stopped correcting him a long time ago. The only reason I stayed quiet was because of a promise. My grandmother. In her final days, she held my hand and whispered, "Keep this family together, my girl." So I tried. I kept paying. I kept showing up. I kept shrinking myself, hoping one day he'd finally see me. But that night on the stairs, something shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, like a door inside me unlocking. The next morning, I sat in my car outside the hospital and made a call I had avoided for 2 years. Margaret Calloway, my grandmother's lawyer. She answered on the second ring. Talia, I was wondering when you'd call. My chest tightened. I need to know what she left me, I said. There was a pause. Then she said something I'll never forget. There are things your grandmother wanted you to learn, when you were ready. I wasn't sure if I was ready, but I knew one thing. I couldn't stay the same. I booked the appointment for the week after my birthday. Because first, I had to survive that dinner. They thought they had already won. They had the plan, the audience, the pressure. But what they didn't know was that I had already started making my move. The night before my birthday, I stood in front of the mirror for a long time. I looked tired. Not just physically, but the kind of tired that comes from being slowly erased. Dark circles, hair tied back without care, a face that hadn't been celebrated in years. And I realized something in that moment. This wasn't just exhaustion. This was what it looks like when someone has been made to feel like they don't matter. From the other room, I could hear Linda again, on the phone. She's always been difficult, she said. Some kids just don't know how to be grateful. I closed my eyes. Grateful. For what? For being ignored. Used. I wanted to walk in there and scream. I really did. But I didn't. Because that's exactly what they expected. A scene. A reaction. Proof that I was the problem. Instead, I remembered something my grandmother used to say. Quiet strength, my girl, always lasts longer. So I stayed quiet. And I showed up. Saturday night. A restaurant filled with warm lights, soft music, and 40 people. A banner stretched across the wall. Happy birthday, Talia. For a second, just 1 second, I believed it. Until I saw the seating. The main table had 5 chairs. My father, Linda, my stepsister, her fiancé, and 1 guest. My name. At a small table, near the kitchen door. At my own birthday. I didn't argue. I didn't react. I just sat down. Smiled when people passed. Nodded when they spoke. And waited. Then my father stood up. Tapped his glass. The room went silent. Tonight is special, he said. Not just because of Talia's birthday. My chest tightened. But because we have an announcement. He turned toward her. My stepsister. And smiled like I had never seen him smile at me. She's engaged. The room exploded. Applause. Excitement. Laughter. People stood, hugged her, admired the ring. For 10 minutes. I disappeared. Completely. My cake sat untouched. Candles still unlit. No one noticed. Then my father spoke again. And this time, he looked at me. Talia, come here. 40 people turned. Watching. Waiting. I walked up slowly. Each step louder than the last. Family takes care of family, he said. Then, without hesitation, in front of everyone, we need to discuss the wedding budget. There it was. The plan. Unfolding exactly how they designed it. She's been saving for years, he continued. I'm sure she'll want to help her sister. His hand pressed on my shoulder. A silent command. Say yes. Linda leaned forward. Tears in her eyes. Perfectly timed. It's what your mother would have wanted. That's when something inside me snapped. Not loudly, but permanently. This is my birthday, I said quietly. Can we not do this here? His expression changed instantly. Cold. Sharp. You always avoid responsibility, he said. I've given you everything, and you can't do this one thing. The room held its breath. My stepsister lifted her phone. Recording. And that's when I said it. Clear. Calm. I'm not giving away my savings. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. My father stared at me. Then, I wish you had never been born. No shouting. No anger. Just truth. The room froze. No one defended me. No one spoke. Not one person. And in that moment, I understood something I had been avoiding my whole life. I was completely alone. So I did the only thing left to do. I folded my napkin, placed it neatly on the table, looked around the room one last time, and said, "Thank you for coming." Then I walked out. That was the last time I ever sat at that table. But what they didn't know was that I had already made a decision. And by the next morning, everything they depended on was gone. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. The house was silent. The same house I had lived in for 20 years. The same house I had paid for, without ever feeling like it was mine. I didn't hesitate, because the decision had already been made the night before. Not in anger, not in revenge, but in clarity. I packed only what belonged to me. One suitcase, one duffel bag, clothes, my nursing license, and one photo of my grandmother, the only person who ever truly saw me. Everything else, I left behind. I walked downstairs quietly, stepping over the third stair, the one that always creaked. My father was asleep. So was Linda. Same house. Same people. But for the first time, I felt nothing. I sat at the kitchen table and opened my laptop. 15 minutes. That's all it took. First, I transferred every dollar of my savings into a new account. Gone. Untouchable. Second, I cancelled the credit card. The one they had been using without a second thought. Third, I confirmed the lease on a small studio apartment. 400 square feet. Nothing fancy. But it was mine. Before I left, I placed one envelope on the kitchen counter. Inside, 4 years of proof. Every payment. Every bill. Every dollar. Highlighted. Totaled. $134,000. No message. No explanation. Just facts. Then I walked to the door, opened it, and stepped out. I didn't look back. Not once. And for the first time in years, I could breathe. What happened next? They didn't understand. Not at first. Day 1. They thought I was being dramatic. Let her cool off, my father said. Day 3. He called me. 4 times. I didn't answer. Day 5. The electricity bill was overdue. They tried to fix it. But the account, it was in my name. Day 7. The truth started breaking through. The mortgage, also in my name. That's when they opened the envelope. And everything changed. Because the house was never his. It had been transferred to me. Legally. Years ago. By my grandmother. Suddenly, the man who controlled everything, owned nothing. The family who believed his version, started asking questions. And the calls, they didn't stop. They changed. Anger turned into panic. Panic turned into desperation. 17 calls in one night. And the last one, I'll never forget it. His voice, completely different. No authority. No control. Just one sentence. Please, where are we supposed to go? I sat there, holding my phone. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel weak. I didn't feel like I had to fix anything. I felt free. Because leaving wasn't revenge. It was the first time I chose myself. Now I want to ask you something honestly. If you were in my place, would you forgive him? Or would you walk away, forever?